The scream came from the walls before I ever heard my own. The sound crawled through the house, low and wet, like something being dragged across bone. I understood in that moment that I was not alone, and I never had been. I moved into the house to disappear. The road ended at the property, and the trees pressed close like they were guarding a secret. The real estate photos showed empty rooms and wide windows. They did not show the stains under the paint or the symbols carved into the door frames. I didn't notice those until night fell and the shadows grew teeth. The first night, the house watched me. I felt it in my spine as I unpacked. Every step echoed twice, once from my feet and once from somewhere deeper. When darkness filled the rooms, the air grew cold and heavy. The smell of damp earth rose from the floorboards. At exactly midnight, the knocking began. 3 taps. A pause. 3 taps. Taps, not from the door, from inside the walls. I pressed my ear to the wood. Something whispered my name back. The voice was old and cracked, like leaves crushed in a fist. I pulled away, and the wall felt warm, like skin. Sleep did not come easily, but when it did, it carried me into a dream where candles burned in a circle on my living room floor. A woman stood among them. Her back was bent, and her hair hung in ropes down her spine. She carved symbols into the floor with a blackened blade. When she turned, her face was wrong. Eyes sewn shut, mouth smiling too wide. She reached for me and said the house was hungry. I woke up choking on smoke. The room smelled of ash. For a moment, I saw her standing in the corner. Then she was gone. Okay. The candle on my table was burned down to nothing. The next day, I explored the house. In the basement, I found scorch marks on the stone walls and a symbol carved deep into the floor. It matched the marks on the door frames. I felt dizzy looking at it, like it was pulling at my thoughts. In the far corner, something moved. A pale shape rose from the darkness. A woman with hollow eyes floated inches above the ground. Her feet never touched the floor. Her mouth opened, and a long breath poured out that smelled of rot. I ran upstairs and slammed the door. The knocking started again, louder now, faster. The walls answered each other. The ceiling creaked as if something heavy crawled above me. That night, the ghosts came openly. Faces pressed out of the walls like they were trapped under skin. Hands reached for mirrors. A childlike figure stood at the end of the hallway, swaying gently. Its eyes were black holes, pointed toward a door that had not been there before. I tried to leave. The front door wouldn't open. The windows showed only forest, even when I knew the road lay beyond. The house shifted and groaned. The witch returned. She stepped out of the shadows, trailing smoke and whispers. She circled me slowly. Her voice filled the room without sound. She told me the house was built on a place of power. She told me the dead were bound here. She told me I was chosen. The ghosts gathered behind her. Burned faces, broken necks, empty eyes. They watched with patience. The witch raised her blade and cut her palm. Black blood dripped onto the floor, and the symbols ignited with a dull red glow. The walls began to breathe. I screamed, and the sound fed the house. The knocking turned into pounding. The floor cracked open, and hands burst through, grabbing at my legs. Cold fingers tightened and pulled me down. I kicked free and ran. The hallway stretched impossibly long. Doors opened on either side, revealing scenes of death. Fire consuming rooms, bodies hanging, shadows tearing flesh. At the end of the hall, the child waited, smiled, and his mouth split too far. Behind it, the witch stood watching. She nodded, like this was always meant to be. I forced myself awake, or so I thought. Morning light filled the room. The house was quiet. I laughed in relief. Then I saw the marks on my arms, handprints, dark and deep. In the mirror behind me, the witch stood smiling. I fled the house at dawn. This time, the door opened. The forest watched me run. I never looked back. Now, I live in a crowded building with thin walls. At night, I hear knocking. 3 taps. A pause. 3 taps. My dreams are filled with smoke and chanting. Sometimes, I wake to find symbols carved into my bedroom floor. Sometimes, I hear a woman breathing beside my bed. Last night, a voice whispered through the wall. It said, the house remembers. It said, the witch is patient. It said, I will return. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more chills. Thanks for watching.